I'd like to welcome everybody this evening to the Board of Trustees regular meeting, Wednesday, March 27th. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to have Judy share with us real quick before I continue on with the meeting.
As you can see, we have just 3 trustees here, and I am very ill. So the agenda is going to be readjusted for any action that needs to take place this month, and then I'm going to be leaving. So you're in for a short board meeting.
So we do have adjustments to the agenda. We will be moving 11.1D, 11.2B, 11.2C. I did it wrong, sorry. 11.1A, 11.2B, 11.2C, 11.2D, 11.2E, 11.2F, and 11.3A to be before 11.1A. Does that make sense? And we're pulling actually item 8.1, the internship presentation. So we actually had illness from our juniors who were going to be doing internship presentations. So, yeah.
So it's all these action items.
Okay, let's go ahead and if you'd all stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll lead you. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So in the new arrangement, it'd be 11.D, the single plans for student achievement to begin after the consent items, yeah.
Do I do this?
Yeah, public comments on non-agenda items.
If anyone else has a public comment on a non-agenda item, please make sure that you fill out a yellow speaker's card, please, and go ahead and bring it on up. We will start with Val Cronin. Good evening, Val.
Yeah.
How's everyone?
Well, thank you. Well, not Judy, but the rest of us are well.
Sorry, Judy. Good evening. My name is Valerie Cronin, and I, along with Scott Johnson, coach the Healdsburg High School girls and boys tennis teams. We're here to address the need for repair and resurfacing of the school's courts, and we would like to have the issue placed on the agenda for the next school board meeting. The high school tennis courts were built in 1997. Since that time, the tennis courts have been neither resurfaced nor properly maintained. The industry standard provides that courts be resurfaced every 5 years. 1997. The tennis courts are in severe state of disrepair. They are slick, cracked, and they pose a potential risk to the kids and to the members of the general public who use them. The dirt and weeds surrounding the courts contribute to the deterioration of the surface. The metal benches are worn and have many jagged edges sticking out, which pose another potential risk of injury. There is no water fountain, so players and coaches are compelled to fill and carry water containers to the courts to provide water for matches. Players only have direct access to the bathroom facilities when I am provided with a key to the gate from the courts to the school campus on match days. To add insult to injury, the garbage bin is only emptied when the coaches put in a special request that the maintenance staff remove the trash. We have a successful tennis program. We have, on average, 20 plus female and male athletes each season. We are competitive and enjoy strong support from the community. The team deserves high quality facilities. The tennis community and the general public deserve top-notch courts to be proud of. Just yesterday, we had a match against Annalee. The longtime coach informed me that their courts were being resurfaced. I said, "Your courts are in terrific shape." And he informed me, "Yes, but we resurface every 4 to 5 years." I mentioned ours had not been touched since being built in 1997. He was astonished. He could not fathom that the Healdsburg Unified School District would let perfectly well-built courts fall into such a state of disgrace. No maintenance, no upkeep for 22 years. It's an embarrassment. The bond measure funds can and should be used to upgrade and maintain our courts. I do not know why the tennis courts were not included in the facilities plan that led to the upgrade of the track. But now it's time to address the condition of the courts. We've been very patient, but we are done being the forgotten and ignored program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Val. I would just like to make a comment and I would like to ask Bill if you could meet with Val on some of the non-construction related comments that she made, i.e. trash. Okay, thank you.
And Val, we are waiting on a formal quote, both for possible short-term and long-term, and we're happy to talk about it at a board meeting once we have the quote in hand, so. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Val, very much. We have another public comment from Cindy Beth.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Cindy Beth, 8329, Highway 128. I just want to piggyback and reiterate what Val has said about the facilities and add in a general term, yes, the tennis courts, I was shocked when I heard that nothing's been done on them since 1997, but I know that the district has heard from me many times about the state of the softball fields and the baseball fields. And now with the addition of the new situation with the very confusing labyrinth of fencing, the baseball team doesn't have access to the water fountain either when the gates are all locked and closed. So I see on the vendor warranties in the agenda item today that the track got a nice water fountain installed. I just would encourage the district to think when things like that are done, what do we need to do to all the facilities? All the facilities need those upgrades, need the regular maintenance and upkeep. The softball field is in disrepair. It is very much so. As a past softball parent, I commented on it very many times. The batter's box, the pitcher's mound, the lack of facilities for the bathrooms before they were done. So just in general, all the facilities need to be updated and kept up. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks, Cindy.
All right. I appreciate you coming forward with your comments. I really do. May I please have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to point out for our guests that are listening in or watching in, some of the donations, I just wanted to take a moment to point them out. Oh, here they are. They're up on the board. Thank you, Steve. So if everyone would just please make note, I just want to recognize our donors. So thank you very much. We have such a generous community, so thank you, thank you. I also want to remind you to fill out any cards for public comments for agenda items. You can do that at this time too, so go ahead and pass those up if you have any. And we are going to, are we doing 11 point? No, D.
11.1D.
Do you have your list that I can?
Oh, you got to vote on consent.
Sorry.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Everybody in favor, or both of you, three of us, in favor of the consent agenda, say aye, please.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. 11D.
11.1D.
Okay.
Yeah.
11.1D, single plans for student achievement.
So the lengthy documents in your board packet from each of our schools, as it says in the cover sheet, may be of interest to those of you in the public. This is a working document that the schools work on throughout the school year. We bring it to you once a year for your knowledge and consent. The template changed on us again. It's a good thing. It's getting closer to the closer to the LCAP. But it did throw us for a loop in the beginning of the year in that there was some major revisions to the template. So we brought this forward to you today for consent. Know that, as I said in the agenda, it's noted that these are constantly undergoing updates and revisions. It is very much a working document, a live document. So you are voting on it at a point in time, not as a stand-all, be-all, goes in a binder for eternity, but it will be a working document. It's about this time where the principals start working with their staff and governance councils to prepare what's now called the school plan instead of the single plan. So it's a little shift with the Every Student Succeeds Act is now wanting us to call these the school plan for student achievement rather than the single plan for student achievement. So they'll begin bringing beginning plans for the 1920 school year in front of their constituents, their stakeholders. You guys won't see those until next year, but this is the time where they work with their staff, their governance council, to do some major revisions of the plan. So what you have in front of you is for this school year, the 18-19 operating school year. We are asking for approval tonight.
I would like to move to approve the single plan for student achievement. Do I have a second?
I'll second. I have some questions. as
Yes,
well.
absolutely. I'm ready for discussion.
I'm looking at the plan and I recognize I'm new on the board, so help me through this.
Sure.
I'm looking at where, and I just kind of went through it. I made some notes and tell me if I'm off base, please. I'm looking at school vision and mission. I see a mission. I don't see a vision. And the reason I say that, in my experience, is mission is good, but the vision really brings it to life. It really pinpoints. It says what exactly you want, what are the standards, what are the attributes, what are the accomplishments that you're looking for. I think if those are in here and very explicit, and it's, I'll tell you, it's not easy work because you revisit, but if you get that, it's much easier as you're going down and saying, are we going to what we see, as opposed to, we're going over there. What does over there look like, I guess? I would really appreciate, at least in next year's plan, seeing a vision that's very explicit.
Sounds good. And we have all our principals in the room tonight, so they're hearing this as well.
I have a couple of other questions, if I may. And I'm just looking at the format, and it may be me. As I look at these, let's see if I can find it here. Again, this is nitpicky, but you'll realize that's who I am. As I look down on where it says student enrollment by grade, and you talk at the bottom, it says our percentage of enrollment by group, student group is remaining fairly consistent, 90% of students being Latino, and I would disagree with that. But then you talk about number 2, the number of white students decreased by 5%. As I read that, number 1, the words are not the same. First of all, it wasn't consistent at 9%. I think it was 80-something percent, and I don't have my notes here. So it actually increased by, was 85 to 89, so it increased by 5%. And again, by using different language, it sounds different, sounds like the white population, and it did, was decreased over 3 years. But the Latino population actually increased by 4+%. Again, using the same language makes it clear to the public. I mean, I get it because I sit here and I have nothing to do at night and I read these things. I would appreciate just, again, consistency in the language. And let's see what other questions I may have.
If I may,
Please.
This is great feedback, and I want to make sure that we get it all. I'm conscious of Judy's health. I would invite you to work with myself and our principals and go through the reports detailed. I think we would benefit from your input and your insight, and that you've gone through them. And I think it would be great to have a sit down with our principals.
That'd be great, and partly, I thought of that. Do I go talk to you first? And I thought, well, I'm a trustee, a public trustee, so whoever is watching and whoever's here in the public, just so they know I have questions. I have one other question, and maybe you can explain this to me. I'm going down where it talks the CASP results, English Language Arts Literacy. That says all students. Grades 3, 4, 5 as example. There are 4 areas. Let's see. Yes, number of students, etc. And who's doing it. And then it talks about the overall achievement of students, standards exceeded, standards met, standards nearly met, standards not met. And then I go down to the next one. It says above standard, at or near standard, and below standard. So it goes from 4 categories to 3.
Yep.
And so when I look at or near standard, is it at or is it near?
Right. Know that these are not our categories. This is the template that we have to fill out. And those numbers actually are furnished to us from the state. So we don't fill this out. This part is auto-filled for us.
Okay.
Yep.
And okay. And again, it's not explicit because it's, like I say, it's not horseshoes. If they're near, that's good, but it's not at. And at or near kind of tells me we're close, but we have
Agreed.
more near and more at.
Agreed.
I don't know.
And honestly, we don't spend a whole lot of time looking at this level of data, to be completely honest. We look at student by student data and classroom by classroom. This kind of summary data is not super useful to inform instruction, but it's what the state wants to see and how they compare schools and
Okay,
against each
Yeah,
other.
it's a state mandated template. So
so I can call the state. No,
You could, actually. It makes a difference. And
Say be more
these
explicit.
template, like I said, we had a major revision thrown at us over the summer.
All right.
The principals worked with their governance councils, ELAC, and other stakeholders with one version. And then over the summer, we got a new version that was aligned to the LCAP, which is great, but it was very different and they had already done some work. So these templates are, just as we are constantly revising them, there's a point of time where you have to say, okay, let's bring it forward because we're about to shift and start focusing on the 1920 school year. But it does make a difference, especially as a school board
Right.
member, if you give input to the State Board of Education.
And I have one last question, and this goes back down to the rainbow, way down overall performance or whatever, and it has the little, whatever that's called, arrow that goes back and
the
forth.
dashboard, yeah.
The dashboard, it goes
Yeah.
from red to blue. I'm guessing red is not good
Correct.
and blue is really good.
Correct.
But then somewhere in between, it doesn't really tell me anything. If I was a parent or as a board member, I'm looking at that and it's like,
Again, and one of the presentations that you probably saw in the packet is to dive into what these mean and how we are to understand them. This data dashboard has been foisted upon us.
I know.
So agreed, and I think it's worth looking at the data in a more detailed manner.
I mean, my question is green.
Green is good. That's what I say.
Does that mean we're at grade level and yellow is almost?
It's a growth model from year to year.
I understand.
Yeah, so it's not simple as grade level. It's about the number of students that progress in any given category.
So we want to be in green. Green is good. Blue is exceptional.
Okay, thank you. That
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah, that's how I've been talking with
That's
other
kind of what I
parents.
thought, but
and
it's,
yeah, green is good.
just tell me.
It's confusing.
Yeah,
it is.
well, it's not
Yeah.
clear is all. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for.
Thanks, Mike, and I'll be
tolerating.
following up with you so we
I
can
appreciate
schedule
it.
some meetings with the principals. I think you have some good input that'll help us learn. Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Okay, I need to ask for a vote, please, on the single plan for student achievement. All in favor, say aye.
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 Yeah, that passes. Thank you. We're going to move on to, are we 11.2B?
11.2B.
Okay. A comprehensive school safety plan, Superintendent Vanden Heuvel. Are you going to read page to page? for
I'm
us?
not going to read page to page, but we have done all of our updates. We brought this to you 2 months ago, and there's a new wrinkle in the legislation where the fire department and the police department have to review and sign off. And so we have signatures both from Linda Collister at the fire department and Lieutenant Matt Jenkins at the police department who have reviewed it, and it is ready for your approval.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the comprehensive school safety plan?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Well, I think it's quite logical. I mean,
It makes sense. Yeah.
it does make sense.
Yeah,
That's
and it was
kind
good
of-
conversation.
Yeah, excellent.
And we actually got new phone numbers from both agencies that might lead to quicker response, so that's good.
Good.
So.
Any other discussion?
No.
Okay, great. I'd like to ask for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. We're going to move on to the next action plan, which is the Healdsburg Unified School District calendar. Can we do that one? Okay.
So we have the calendar that we talked about last month here for your final approval. There have been no changes to it. I cannot read it, but the first day of school, I believe, is August. There we go.
There we go.
August 15th. And the last day of school is, I believe, June.
June.
April. Don't get too excited. June 4th. Wishful thinking. Yeah, so June 4th for 2020.
You're going to
It's
say
fairly
April.
similar to this year's calendar. I have the same feeling. I see August 15th. It's my anniversary, and it seems early, but it's around when we've been starting the last few years. So.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion to approve the district calendar for 2019-2020?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We're going to move on to 11.2D, notice of award to GCCI for the Healdsburg High School building and re-roof and HVAC replacement project.
Right, so this is for one of our big projects for this summer, the district office slash high school cafeteria slash high school kitchen and band room are all in desperate needs of new roof, new HVAC systems. So that's what this project will be covering. We had three good bids from three companies we've worked with before. GCCI was the lowest one, and we're happy to work with them. So pleased to go forward.
Okay, can you, I'll start with a motion. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Right. So Steve, can you remind us how this is being funded, please?
Yeah, we'll take the bulk of the project out of the bond fund,
Mhm.
except for the district office. We'll take that out of Fund 40, which is another pot of money we have for facilities, but not the bond itself. So the bond is just for the high school facilities.
Okay, thank
High
you.
school and junior high.
Any further discussion?
No.
All right, we'll take a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. All right, so we are now, 11.2E, change order for the Healdsburg High School Modernization Project Phase 2.
Right, so the next two items are actually pretty much the same project. In our minds, it was one project. In the state's mind, at OPSC, it was two separate projects. That's why you have two separate change orders for two separate contract amounts. One of the change orders was an increase, one was a decrease. They netted to about zero. So
Okay.
that does finish both projects at this point. So.
Okay, so we'll do them one at a time. I will go ahead and move to approve the item 11.2E, the change order 2 for the high school modernization project phase 2. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, then we will vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then we'll do F, which was the change order number 2 for the high school gym and ag science classroom project, which I think, Steve, you've explained. So I think we're just going to go ahead and I will move to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, let's go ahead and take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right,
If
that
these are-
passes as well. And then I think we're down to our last
This
action.
one's a
Our last action item. That's okay. 11.3 personnel, A, elimination, reduction of certain positions in the classified service for 1920.
This resolution basically has to do with the athletic director position, which had temporarily, by way of an MOU with HADA, been placed in the classified management service. So because we have now identified a certificated unit member for the coming school year that wants to take that on, and we're offering to him, we have to technically and legally eliminate it from the classified service and then proceed to notice the impacted employees.
And it's
That's that.
worth noting that the certificated unit has this position falls into them,
Yes.
so they have essentially first right of refusal if it's a qualified applicant. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are there
Okay.
any other questions about that?
I don't think yet. You can stay for just a moment. May I go ahead and ask for a motion to approve?
Move to,
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
go
Mike.
ahead.
Okay, so Michael, move and I will second. Any questions or any further discussion for Franny? Okay, this is a roll call vote. Thank you, Franny. Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right.
yeah, that's next. Yeah, 11.1A. Just so you know, Judy is not feeling well, and when we do not have a quorum at a meeting, we are unable to continue with the meeting, and so we have Thomas Worf here who's come to present on the curriculum item as it pertains to social studies adoption, and she's indicating she's not feeling well. So after this, she's going to leave, and we're going to have to adjourn legally. We can't have a meeting with less than 3 trustees. So
Thanks
Okay.
for holding on, and I'm glad when we have a teacher present and want to present possible purchase of curriculum that will affect both this year and next, that would be good. So as it says in the board packet, there are new materials for history social science that are now available based on a new framework. So history social science does not have new standards. The state of California decided to stick with its standards, but to rewrite the framework. So the way I explain things is the standards are what to teach, the framework is how to teach it. So we have a new framework. The curriculum providers have been busily making new materials. Our single subject specialist at the high school were ready to go and review material early this year. They actually started last year looking at preliminary material and have been piloting. They are very pleased with the material from TCI. I'm going to let our great teacher here, Mr. Thomas Worf, explain a little bit about why they're excited about it. And if it pleases the board, we would like to bring this back on the next agenda item as a consent item to move forward with purchase, so we can have these new materials ready to go and be trained on them over the summer. And then, like I said, have them ready to go for the 1920 school year. So a little bit about why we like TCI.
And I will keep it brief for you, Judy. I appreciate you sticking it out. The first thing I'd like to say is our old textbooks were 1999, published in 1999. And being published then, that's before 9/11 took place. I was in high school at that point, so it's been a long time. The new curriculum has an online component. You can do most things digitally, seamlessly. Each of the teachers at the high school that use it kind of pick and choose what they'll do online and what works better in the classroom. But that is a big piece for us, having a digital component. TCI has been kind of like the gold standard as far as activities, simulations, debates, things that you can do that get the kids more engaged in a social studies classroom. Older curriculum would be more dense reading and less of that. A big reason why we're excited about TCI is we all use supplemental TCI materials, where we use old stuff, and now we have the newest, most up-to-date TCI, access to it online, and are thrilled with that. So I think that's the biggest thing. All of the digital content, the experiences that we can give the kids in the classroom, and the actual textbook is concise, and it's great. They've also hit the mark with how to teach the new things and the FAIR Act, which is recent California legislation. So I think it's an excellent curriculum.
Okay, good. Thank you.
A little bit of background, we also are starting piloting now in the second semester at the junior high school. So we're basically moving from the single subject specialists, have the time, they're hungry, they're ready for new curriculum. The high school went first, the junior high is next. They're also reviewing TCI and a number of other materials. There's much more material that was prepared for a K-8 than there was for the high school. So what the high school got to choose from was more limited. The history, social science teachers at the middle school are also our English language arts teachers. So they are in their first year of implementing StudySync, their brand new English material. So they're kind of getting that under their wing and are ready to do some piloting. We don't anticipate purchasing history, social science curriculum for K-8 this year. Maybe halfway through next year, we might be thinking about the junior high, and the elementary is probably a good year off. So like I said, open up for any questions or dialogue, and if it pleases the board, we'd like to bring this back on the consent agenda in the next month.
I'd just like to say I'm excited you guys chose TCI. I was a history teacher before I got into administration and used TCI extensively when it first came out, which dates me. But my experience with them was that they did a lot around what's really the important things that you teach in history, with like point of view and analysis of primary sources and cause and effect, and weren't so hung up on the dates and things like that. And so I'm really excited to see that you guys are going that direction.
Exactly what you said.
Yeah.
The important stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Activities that are engaging.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Any questions or input from the board?
I think
Okay.
we can wait
Thank
till
you
next
very
time.
much. This is
Thank
just a
you.
discussion item, informational tonight. So no
Great,
action.
thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Worf.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting. So I thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.